body scan. This is a practice where we bring awareness to different parts of the body, and typically it's done lying down flat on your back, on a mat on the floor or on the bed, with your palms faced upwards, your feet slightly apart, and allowing your body to be comfortable, ensuring that it's warm enough. And if there's anything you need to do to make it more likely that you won't be disturbed during this practice, you can do that. It might also be good to loosen a watch or a belt or anything that you feel is constricting you in any way, and spending a moment now to see, is there anything else you can do that would make yourself feel a little bit more comfortable as you do this practice. Then we tune into what our intention is for doing this practice. It might be to fall asleep, in which case enjoy. Otherwise, if it's to fall awake or to bring care for parts of your body, you might just consider what has brought you to doing this practice, and initially thanking yourself for putting yourself in a position of trying to bring this to yourself. Firstly then, just noticing the body, being aware of the whole body, lying here, and bringing attention firstly to the sense of heaviness that the body has, where the body is in contact with the mat, the ground, or chair, or bed. Just sensing that weight that the body has, and allowing whatever is supporting the body to fully take the weight. And becoming aware as well of the sense of temperature in your body. The body is typically warmer than the air around it. And just noticing whether your body at the moment is feeling warm or any parts of it feeling cool. Any parts of it exposed to the air. A blanket may be helpful during this practice. If you can get a sense of the heartbeat, the pulse anywhere in the body, just noticing that as well. Another one of these happenings that is always there in the body is that blood is moving through the body. And if we can sense that at the moment, just noticing that. And something else that the body is always doing while we're alive is breathing. So just noticing what happens in the body that lets you know that breathing is taking place. Is the chest moving? The abdomen? And perhaps you can notice where the air is coming in or out and out of your body. Usually the nostrils or the mouth. Just for a moment, placing your awareness there. Throughout a practice like this, thoughts, judgments, ideas, memories are likely to come into the mind. That can be particularly prominent at the start of the practice or at any point during it. It's somewhat inevitable, and so we deal with ourselves very kindly with this. We just notice it. The goal of the practice is not that thoughts don't happen. So sometimes people can get frustrated with themselves if they notice that thinking happens a lot. But often as the body becomes still, it takes quite a while for the mind to become still, or perhaps not at all. So when thoughts occur, we have to deal very gently with ourselves with that, just allowing them, and as far as possible, diverting your attention back to whatever the focus of the awareness is at that moment. So having a sense of the whole body lying here, and then we're going to zoom the attention right into the tip of the left toe, left big toe. This may not be an area that you can sense very much in, or it could be an area that is very apparent to you. Can you notice clothing against it, or blanket, or is it exposed to the air? And seeing if you can notice any sensations that are coming into your consciousness from the other toes of the left foot, the little toe and the toes in between. It can be nice to visualize a breath going all the way down to the toes, breathing in and sending that breath all the way down to the toes, and as you breathe out, allowing the toes to melt out of your awareness. And we're going to tune into the sole of the left foot. As you bring your attention around the ball of the left foot and the arch, around to the heel, just seeing, do you notice tingling, warmth, achiness? It could be an area of pain, or it could be an area of relative pleasure. In this practice, we're aiming to be free of the normal judgments that the mind might have about different parts of the body. So whether it's a comfortable sensation there or an uncomfortable one, we're aiming just to notice it without preference, without trying to change it or make any part of the body feel a particular way. Bringing attention around to the top of the foot and around to where the foot meets the ankle. And then directing an inhale all the way down the left side of the body to the left foot. And as you exhale, allowing that foot to rest and bringing attention to the left ankle. You might have sensations from the front of the ankle or the soft skin at the back of the ankle. And then allowing the attention to move up towards the shin, around the shin, and at the back of the lower leg where the calf muscle is. Sometimes when these areas of the body, if they don't trouble us, we may barely notice them at all. Whereas if they do trouble us, they can really come into our attention very loudly. So without preference, just seeing what's happening for you right now in the left lower leg. And bringing that awareness to the left knee. Any noticing of aching there, tension? Or does it feel tired or relatively peaceful? Tuning into all the ligaments and tendons that are joining the left knee to the muscles on either side, to the upper and lower leg. Maybe tuning in around the soft part, the back of the left knee. And then bring attention to the upper left leg. Perhaps noting the length of the thigh. This is an area where there's quite a long bone in the body and relatively large muscles. And just seeing what sensations are coming into your consciousness right now from the left upper leg. All the way up to where the left leg meets the hip. And now directing a breath down the left side of the body, filling the left leg, all of the left leg. And as you exhale, inviting any other tension that's in the left leg to ease away. And we're going to bring the attention to the tip of the right big toe. And noticing how we can do this. There's no sense of the attention having to take a journey. It can go immediately from one part of the body to another part without delay. And it's just part of how it is to be a human, that we can bring awareness around to different things in our senses and in our thoughts. So perhaps noticing, is there any difference in the sensations that you notice between the large toe of the right foot and the other toes of the right foot? It may be difficult to distinguish the different toes. However, if there's pain in any one of them, that's likely to be very apparent. And just noting that. So taking in an inhale, directing it all the way down to the toes of the right foot. And as you exhale, allowing those toes to melt away. Bringing the attention along the sole of the right foot. Perhaps noting sensations there could be quite different depending on whether this is early in the day or whether that foot has done a lot of walking, standing. Sometimes we can be barely aware of the sensations in different parts of the body until we deliberately bring some care and attention to them. And then noting the top of the right foot, tuning in all around there, seeing if you can sense into the bones of the right foot, the muscles, and directing a breath down the right side of your body, filling the right foot, and with a gradual exhale, letting the awareness move now to the right ankle and the right lower leg. As far as possible, during this practice, we aim not to have a preference for whether there's comfort or discomfort in any part of the body. We're trying to adopt a position a little bit like a caring scientist conducting an experiment, an inquiry, just exploring into the area, just being interested to see what's there today. Obviously, if there's pain there, or if there's often pain in a particular part of the body, that can be very difficult for us, and naturally we seek to get away from pain. During a practice like this, there's an invitation to explore pain. However, that can be too much, in which case the caring thing to do is to maybe to move on to parts of the body that feel less pain in them. which can also be very useful. We're trying to, if there's pain, perhaps in the right lower leg, you might see, well, which parts, around, perhaps the ankle and the knee could be okay if there was a pain at the shin, and just exploring which areas are okay. Maybe bring the attention to the areas of relative comfort. If it's too much to stay with an area of pain, it's important to care for ourselves during a practice like this. And we can use the breath as well. If we, during this body scan, if we come upon an area of particular discomfort, feel free to tune into the breath as well. And that gradually over the weeks, and doing the body scan at different times, you might see if it can be easier to tune into that area on other occasions. And so now bringing the attention to the right knee, this hinge joint that does so much work for us when we walk and stand and run. And usually we don't notice it until it begins to complain about something. So showing a little bit of appreciation for it if it's been doing any work for you today, and bringing the attention up into the right thigh area, the upper right leg, tuning in along the quad muscles to the front of the thigh, and the hamstring at the back of the thigh, and then tuning in around the inner upper right leg and the outer side of the right leg. Perhaps noticing temperature there, heaviness, and bringing what we call beginner's mind to this area of the body, as in attending to the right leg as though this was the first time that you were ever aware of having right leg. What's it like? Without judgment or preference. And then directing a breath all the way down through the right leg, filling the right leg, and inviting any bits of tension in it to release, if possible, as you exhale gently. And bringing the attention to the hips, the right hip and the left hip. Just noticing what you sense here. And around to the buttocks and the pelvic region, genitals, and then bring attention to the base of the spine and allowing the awareness to move gradually up the spine, scanning along the lower back to the left and the right. This, of course, can be an area of tension for lots of people. And if there's tension there, seeing if any of it can release as you bring attention to it. But otherwise allowing it, just noting it. Cultivating this sense of I'm noticing tension rather than I am tense. Just that subtle little distinction in the language brings us some freedom. I'm noticing discomfort rather than I am uncomfortable. And bringing the awareness up along the back, to the middle of the back, and to the upper back, the shoulder blades. With an area like this, again, an area commonly associated with tension for people. We may have sat too long or stood too long or had to carry things. It's challenging for our backs. And of course, when we hold ourselves tensely, the shoulders, all this part of the body gets held tensely. If you think it could help to clench the muscles for a moment on the inhale and release them on the exhale, you're welcome to try that. Or otherwise, sometimes just bring attention to an area of the body, and noticing the tension allows some of that to release. The goal of the practice, of course, isn't relaxation or to release tension. It's to become more aware, to become more that we are aware of where there is tension and allowing that to be. Cultivating a sense of equanimity, that we're okay with it, whether there's discomfort there or comfort. And noticing what the breathing does to the back. It's not as obvious as what it does to the chest and the belly, but nonetheless the back moves as we breathe. And maybe taking in an extra deep inhale, see if you notice anywhere in the back that moves with the breath. Noticing the parts of the back that are more in contact with the bed or the mat than others, where you can really get a sense of the weight of the body pressing downwards. Now bring attention to the lower abdomen, to the belly, noting if any information is coming to you at the moment from where digestion is taking place, the intestines, the stomach. And noticing how the belly moves as you breathe. And bringing that attention upwards to the top of the abdomen, the base of the rib cage, and bringing that kind awareness to this area of the body, where just inside here there's all these organs that probably we can't sense unless there's terrible pain. Kidneys, pancreas, liver, bladder, all these parts of the body that without our doing much about it are helping us the whole time. And then allowing the breath to fill the abdomen and belly. Notice what the large inhale does to the belly, and as you exhale gradually and gently, letting that part of the body move out of your awareness and bringing your attention up to the chest, noticing along the rib cage, the breasts, left side of the chest, right side, muscles of the chest. And this is, of course, the area where the lungs are. So, noticing what happens here as the lungs fill with air, part of their continual task of sending oxygen around the body and taking carbon dioxide out. And got a very important organ here, the heart. Sometimes we can notice the rate that the heart is beating, And often we can't. Just seeing right now, can you notice what's happening physically at the heart? There's also the poetic sense in which we use the word heart as a sort of a centre for our emotions. And if emotions are very prominent in this part of the body, trying to apply that same mindful awareness to it, whether it's sadness, anger, frustration, peace, happiness, whatever is there, we just being aware of it, aiming to be like that curious, empathic scientist, who's just caringly noting what's happening right now in the body. Typically when we have difficult emotions or difficult bodily sensations, we immediately feel we need to change them. And sometimes that can be done easily, but sometimes it's not so easy, and they're there with us for a long time. And when that happens, often the wisest course is to just notice them, to be with them, and give ourselves a break from the constant attempt at changing, improving. Rather, we're just letting ourselves be. So, allowing the lungs to fill again, noting what they do to the chest. And as you exhale, inviting this part of the body to rest. And bringing attention to the hands. Left hand and right hand together. See if you can notice sensations around the thumb, around the index finger, middle finger, the ring finger and the little finger. Then around the palms. And bring attention to the wrists. Doing a practice like this, if ever there's part of the body that starts to become very uncomfortable and you want to move it, there's a choice there. Just become aware of the desire to move it, and then you just make the choice compassionately for yourself. It could be a good idea to move, say, the fingers or the part of the body to shake a little bit. The goal of this is not to stay rigidly still. The goal is for caring for ourselves, which can be difficult for many of us, and allowing ourselves, exploring how it is to be me right now, not seeking to change, just allowing. Letting that attention move upwards, lower arms and elbows, and seeing if you can notice much at the upper arms. Muscles to the front of the upper arms and the back of the upper arms. And then bringing that awareness of where the upper arms start to come into contact with the torso, the shoulders, and that very sensitive, soft area under the arms. Tuning in there for a moment, and along that sensitive part of the rib cage. Then allowing a breath to come in, imagining it's going down through the arms, down to the fingertips. And as you exhale, letting the arms rest, if that's easy. Bring the attention now to the shoulders. the top of the shoulders and where the shoulders meet the shoulder blades. Again, if you want to move this part of the body, feel free. Clench it a little bit and then deliberately invite it to relax. If there's tension there, just noting that, noting where it is, and perhaps noting where it isn't as well. If there's more tension on one side than the other, just being aware of that with a sense of interest. And bringing the attention on along the shoulders to the neck, the back of the neck, the sides of the neck, and the front of the neck. And then inside the neck, noting anything there, the throat. Can you notice the air passing through the throat? Or can you notice a pulse along here? Of course, so much of the blood that comes from the heart goes up towards the head through the neck. You're just bringing a little bit of awareness to these processes that are happening constantly in the body. Pulse, breath, sense of heaviness. The sense of heaviness can be apparent as you're lying on your back on the back of the head, if that's in contact with the ground or a cushion. It's just noticing along that maybe slightly neglected part of the body where the neck begins to meet the back of the head, and then around the sides of the head, and tuning into the jaw. We can hold all manner of tension in the little tiny muscles of the face and the jaw. It can be nice to open the jaw and let it move from side to side, inviting any remaining tension there to fall away, and we don't need to have any particular expression on our face doing this. So letting all the little muscles of the cheek that are so important in how we communicate with other people. So bring your attention around the lips, an area of huge sensitivity, and noting inside the mouth how the texture here is quite different to skin outside. Sense of moisture, warmth perhaps, and noting if you're breathing through the mouth, air coming in and out, the cold air on the tongue or the tops of the mouth, and the warmer air coming back out as the carbon dioxide is transmitted back out. And bring attention to the top of the lip and the nose, nostrils. If you're breathing here, again, it can be interesting to notice the cool air coming in around the tips of the nostrils and the warmer air coming out. This is just one of these things happening all the time that falls far below our conscious awareness. Now, bring attention up around the eyes, the eye sockets, the backs of the eyes, tiredness here, achiness, or comfort. Being curious as to what's here for you at the moment. And not underestimating how this awareness that we bring is non-judgmental awareness, where we're not trying to make ourselves different. It's kind of unusual for us, and it has potential for being very healing. So just allowing that to move along around the eyes, between the eyes, up to the eyebrows, and where the eyes move towards the temples, noticing the temples and the forehead. If you like to move the eyebrows a little bit, or note any tension at the forehead. And then coming along to the crown of the head. And tuning into the ears. Hugely important for our sense of the world around us. And just tuning into the marvellous ability that ears are part of. The whole world of sound. Just noting for a moment what sounds are coming into your consciousness as you lie here. And then seeing if you notice any sensations, as it were, within the head, around the brain, any sense of tension. And offering yourself kindness, again, for any discomfort you encounter. And now we've scanned through all of the body, and we just allow that our attention to expand out. So from the head, as though we're zooming out, and now the neck and head are in focus. The shoulders come into focus with the arms, the upper torso, then the head and all of the torso, arms, and the hips, and allowing it to zoom out so that the legs, the left and the right foot, the whole body lying here. And just noticing is any other part of the body really calling for your attention right now. Anywhere that's complaining, and just affording it another moment of non-judgmental care. Just noting, listening to it for a second more. Allowing the body to breathe here. And as we come towards the end of the practice, if you're still awake, thanking yourself for engaging in this radical act of care for yourself. It's good practice to sort of reward ourselves. There's so much that happens that tells us not to spend time with ourselves like this. So at the end of the practice, it's a good idea to thank ourselves. Say well done for trying to spend this time getting to know my own experience. And if you like to move a little bit, stretching a tiny bit, moving the fingers, the toes, taking in extra deep breath. It can be nice to rub your palms together and place them over your eyes and blink the eyes open with the palms over them. And as the eyes open, noting the world around you, the room you're in. And thank you for participating in this practice with me. Enjoy the rest of your day.